Oh, where'd the other guy go?
He had an emergency hit.
Oh, geez.
Stand by.
Cody, it is under the NASRA special Thanksgiving hangover 350. If you want to change it over, that's what it's under. That's the link it's under. So,
Yep,
everybody, thank you. We welcome you back to coverage of the NASRA 360 Racing Network. We had a technical error, but we are back up and going again here, thanks to Cody Knott popping in. So, of course, Vice President of Operations for NASRA, Anthony Shababy in the house. Thank you again earlier to Nakia Chitwood, a.k.a. Rubber Ducky. You're the one. And they're playing in the rain again here, Anthony. We are working 1 hour completed, by the way, my friend.
I say it actually looked like when we were going through our little issue there that we had, it looked like the rain was starting to let up. But
yeah,
here we are. It's starting to pick back up again, and we're starting to see a lot of these guys be a little bit more cautious. They're looking at Isaac Bevan running off the course just a little bit. The rain really being torrential. Water's pooling. The cars are getting high-centered. A lot of drag when it going to the corners.
Yep.
These guys are just limping along.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about, obviously, is the fact that, we were watching these guys start to come into some of the dry conditions and some wet spots or, if you will, standing water in some of the locations. But now we are now seeing torrential rainfall again, and I believe it's affected these guys. 4 cars, mind you. 4 cars with an hour complete, an hour remaining on the lead lap, and currently 2 at the tail of the field. So 6 cars as going around. There you go. We talk about being in the weather, and that's exactly what just happened to Tyler Justice. And this is a guy that's in the point standings here, Anthony.
And that gravel's not being any nicer to him right now. Really struggling to get that car free. And I want to circle back to what you're talking about, the standing water, the pooling water. If these drivers are not careful, it is amazing how quick that car will get set into a position you don't want it to be.
Yeah, by the way, I want to let everybody know that if you click on the live feed, it's under, for some reason, the NASRA special event, Thanksgiving Hangover 350 Part 3. If you click on that, that is actually the stream key that's being used. And I think Cody Knott is actually trying to go behind the scenes and get all that stuff reworked and redone, and obviously back up and fixed again. So a little technical error, but quick work by everybody here at the NASRA 360 Racing Network Art Building from Pirate Broadcasting to get it back up and going. And here comes the rain falling again, baby. We are 1 hour completed. Isaac Bevan continues to lead.
You're listening to the CRN Community Radio Network. We now pause for station identification. This is the Community Radio Network, WCRN, 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud to be in the USA. We are CRN.
1 hour down, less than an hour to go. Anthony Shababy, Wesley Outlet back with you. Welcome back to coverage of the NASRA 360 Racing Network and the Red Bull Ring here in Austria, virtual Austria on iRacing. And the 2 hours, the 213simware.com 2 hours of Red Bull Ring. And obviously right now, we are watching these guys not singing in the rain. Well, maybe they are singing in the rain as they're driving in the rain, but they are driving in the wet stuff, and it's been this way since the drop of the green, if you will, Anthony.
Earlier, it looked like they were more so dancing in the rain, but now it's just more like a skip and a hop. I mean, again, the rain's really coming down. These guys are fighting so much weather conditions through each and every corner. And I want to point out to one driver in particular here, rain aside, which is Brandon Rapp, the number 142 Ferrari, is slowly, surely climbing his way up. When I got here tonight, he was sitting around 9th place, and he's sitting pretty in 3rd, just above Tyler Justice.
Yeah, comfortably right now, if you will, as you mentioned, in a nice position around the racetrack. That's where he currently stays. Put another lap on the board is Isaac Bevan continuing to hold on to that top spot over Kermit the Frog. Luke Smith, he is in trailing distance of the leaders. Look at these guys side by side again, driving through the rain, the mud and the muck. This is Joey Helton.
A little too close for comfort for me, especially in this weather. I'll tell you that, Wesley.
Man, it's getting to the point where it's getting so wet and muggy and foggy and dense, it's hard to even see the cars on course right now. This is Kermit the Frog. This is Luke Smith. And it's saying that Isaac Bevan's gone off track. By the way, Isaac Bevan is 14 seconds ahead of this guy in second.
I tell you what, in this weather, Wesley, that 14 seconds can turn into 6 very fast. And as you see there, Isaac Bevan's around.
And speaking of the leader, there's a replay of what happened to Isaac Bevan. And he's still comfortably so far ahead, even in the rain, that he's still in the lead. He might have lost about 4 seconds to Luke Smith. It's cut down to now 10 seconds now. But Isaac Bevan, even though after that mishap, is still in the top spot.
You know, and Isaac Bevan's had a couple of those incidents within the past 10, 15 minutes that we've been watching. If he's not careful and he's not dialed in on that car and making sure he's avoiding each and every individual standing pool of water, and that continues to happen, we could see Kermit make a run here with time to go, as you see Isaac Bevan lose the traction just a bit coming around that sharp turn from the right side. Looks like we might have Brandon Rapp off the track as Tyler Justice moves into third position.
Yeah, seeing guys, I think, come down pit road, obviously. Ironically, we just saw people pit around lap 28, 24, 23. And now look at this, more drivers are pitting. We got 3 cars on the lead lap now.
You know, what a lot of people don't realize is that, especially when you put rain tires on, you know, when you're going that fast, there's a lot of friction, there's a lot of heat. That rain essentially will cut through the tires like diamonds as time goes on.
Isaac Bevan's continuing to hold on to that top spot, man. Obviously, Luke Smith, Kermit in second. Tyler Justice third. And I would be hard-pressed to say, honestly, Anthony, that there has been every driver in some shape or form off course, crashed, wrecked in some way tonight.
There's not one guy that I've seen where they haven't went off the road. I mean, yeah, have they put down a couple of consistent laps without that happening? Absolutely. But I have to agree with you, Wesley. I don't think I haven't seen one driver lose control of the car or just get high centered due to standing water and find themselves off the track somewhere.
Racing in the rain here at the virtual iRacing simulation that is the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. This 4.318 kilometer, 2.683 mile track, 10 turns, elevation change of roughly 65 meters. And obviously 7 right turns, 3 left turns, and that's the way you get around this place. And it's starting to look like maybe the sun's trying to poke out again here, Anthony.
Yeah, it looked like we had that opportunity earlier as well, and you know, it was a couple of minutes that we had some sunlight where it looked like the ring was letting up. I just don't know that that's going to happen, and if it does, it's not going to happen in time for these guys to adjust these drivers.
The devil's beating his wife, as they used to say back in the day in the South when I was young. I say, well, Mama, well, Daddy, it's the sun's out, but it's storming. Well, son, the devil's beating his wife.
I tell you
didn't
what,
know the devil had a wife.
Living down in the South right now, you had me fooled if we're racing anywhere else, because there's a lot of water for how it's been here lately.
Exactly right. Yeah, man. It feel like it's rained all day. I live in North Carolina, and it feels like it's rained and stormed since probably Sunday afternoon where I live.
That's like clockwork around here, man. 3 o'clock, it's every day.
You said you're in the South. You're in Florida, right?
I don't know if you consider it the South, but, you know, if you're going to geographically speak about it, yeah, I'm in the South, but I think we all know what the South lies in.
Where do you live? What state do you live in?
I do live in Florida. I live in a town called Vero Beach.
Okay. Vero Beach, Florida. Vero Beach, yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Nice
yeah, I know it. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Retirement time.
And you're going through one of those types of seasons now, obviously, where, I mean, it could be sunny and then all of a sudden a storm pops up out of nowhere.
Man, it's so funny you said that, Wesley. I was literally driving 5 miles to my next job today, and the sun was out. It was beaming. I think I went into a client's house for maybe 30 minutes. I came back out, and it was as dark as night. And that's just the nature of living in Florida, That's just what it comes down to. Looks like we're getting a little squirrely here as somebody is spinning around. I'm not sure if that's a replay or not.
Yeah, Vero Beach is like way, way, way like south of Melbourne, ain't it? Like south of Melbourne, and
honestly, it's probably about a good 55 minutes south of Melbourne.
Yeah.
From where I live currently, but it's not far at all, really. I mean, where you're located, Miami's 2 hours and 45 minutes south, and Orlando's an hour and 15 minutes northwest. So Tampa is 3 hours west. You're kind of in the epicenter, where we don't have to drive very far.
Yeah, you're like what, about 2 hours south of Daytona, basically?
Yeah, about 2 hours south of Daytona. Yeah, I would say that's
Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
By the way, they announced that the Clash returning back to Daytona. A lot of people are excited about that again.
I could not tell you how excited I was to hear that, man. Why they pulled it from Daytona is beyond me. I really feel like they missed the mark there, but I'm glad it's coming back. It's a big thing, especially around here. I mean, any race at Daytona and Florida, or for Sebring for that matter, it really does attract the crowd all the way across the state.
See, I think they need to make it interesting. Like the Clash, I'm not saying that like it's, through the years been boring as hell at Daytona. I'm not saying that it hasn't, because it has. But they've got to find a way to make it an all-star, just like the all-star race, their formats. They've got to find a way to make the Clash be exciting. And, whether it be 100 miles or 50, but let's run 20 laps on the road course. Let's run 20 laps, around the track. Let's run 20 laps in reverse. You got to find a way to try to make it entertaining, per se. But I am glad to see that it is back at Daytona.
I gotta ask you, it should be. Did they not? Was it at the Bud Shootout years and years ago? And I'm talking back when Jeff Gordon had that cool Jurassic Park paint job, where halfway through the race they would flip the grid order. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, I want to say it was the Advanced Auto Parts Clash. It was like 2014, 2015, something like that. And they actually did, do that, where they had a caution flag at the end of the first 20 laps, 50 miles, and then they inverted the field or threw a random caution and made you pit stop and whatnot. And, I'm not trying to say that we need to do these shenanigans, but honestly, we need to do these shenanigans. This is the type of things that has entertained today's racing audience, but we've also forgot about yesterday's audience. I think that's where the problem is.
And I think that's just, that's the nature with anything, really. These big sports companies, they want to go after the younger demographic, but of course, in the back of our mind, you still want it to be tailored to what you know, what you grew up with, and what you think it's supposed to be, or what you knew it was.
That's right.
And that unfortunately, that is a hard pill to swallow, because at the end of the day, Wesley, we're just voices. We're a voice with a microphone, like you always tell me. So I do have to agree with you. There's something needs to change for there to be that level of excitement again, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to last long with Carson Hocevar making everybody upset on the track. So, that's only going to last so long.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, off the record, I'm happy to see my buddy Carson Hocevar doing what he's doing, man. I remember back in the day, in the early, the 2018, 2019, 2020, hell, during even COVID when he was running in the ARCA series, and he'd be running ARCA, and then he'd drive a super late model in the series, super series, or, you know, the Snowball Derby, or the All-American, or Oxford 250 or something like that, and I covered it. And you know, I remember telling him, I remember very vaguely a conversation that me and him had at Anderson, Indiana, walking up and down pit road at the Red Bud 400. And I told him, I said, dude, just keep on digging, doing what you're doing. I said, I promise you, with your talent, Carson, the right people are going to pick you up and you're going to go somewhere in NASCAR. I'm going to see you on a Sunday afternoon one day. He laughed at me. He said, do you really think that's going to happen? I said, dude, I'm telling you, I've been seeing race car drivers for over 25 years. When I tell you that I think you've got the goods, you got the goods. It's just a matter of putting yourself in the right place. I said the same thing to Ty Gibbs. And now, granted, could he have maybe done what he did because of being Joe Gibbs' grandson? Yes. Right? But
now you're bringing in the nepotism argument. I don't.
But Ty Gibbs could drive a car. He was talented. What he did with Venturini Racing and driving in super late models. And so I literally was like, you're going to go somewhere, literally. And it's not just going to be daddy's, your granddad's name, or, you know, J.D. Gibbs or Coy Gibbs, the family name, to get you there. So, and he did.
Yeah, 100% did. And it does show. The proof is in the pudding, you know. I don't, you know, I'm sure with that name, you're going to have a lot of resources and backing behind that. But he earned that spot. He earned, you know, where he's at 100%.
Certainly. Let's get back to the race. Obviously, really nothing much to talk about right now. 4 cars on the lead lap. That's it. Fighting through the standing water, if you will, now, as the rain, I believe, has finally stopped here at the Red Bull Ring. But it's just a puddle, and it's standing water, and it's hydroplaning. Oh, look out, Kermit. There goes Kermit. Luke Smith around. Just saw that in real time.
Working on some ground there, but as you said, the standing water. It is definitely the devil's advocate today on this track.
Honestly, dude, that's exactly what they're fighting right now, is the standing water and dealing with the issues that is at hand.
You know, I do want to point out Brandon Rapp back into 3rd place above Tyler Justice. Justice now laying down the fastest lap tonight at a 141. Rapp also earlier was putting down some pretty quick laps, which is a result of him ending up in the 3rd position behind Kermit the Frog here. God, I don't know if I can say that, Wesley. I don't know if I have to say Luke Smith.
Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog.
I can't do it, man. I just can't do it.
Kermit. Give it your best Kermit the Frog voice. Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog. Did that work for you?
That's pretty damn close. That's probably better than me, man. So, Kermit the Frog here. Ever work with Bigglestein, Hopton producer? He really sounds just like the guy, and he just makes me chuckle and laugh. Nonetheless, Kermit the Frog right now, 25 seconds back in second to Isaac Bevan. As right now we are closing in on the final 40 minutes of this race. 41 minutes to be exact here in the 2 hours presented by 213 Simware, 2 hours at Red Bull Ring. And there's a look at Bevan still in the lead, running away with this thing, man. Nobody can catch this guy. BMW. I think we're going to see clearing. I just wonder how much. Yeah, you see the sun out.
The
right?
sun's there.
Sun's
it's on the
back
track.
out.
It's on the track.
Yeah, the sun's out. The question is how much dryness are we going to see on the course before this race is over in 40 minutes? That's the big question.
And that's the problem, Wesley. That's exactly what the issue is that, you know, and we questioned it earlier. If and when that rain does start to clear up, and as you look there, we see the sky in the background, the clouds are kind of moving away, and the sun is coming up over the hillside. You know, we were wondering at what point, if it does clear up, and how much time would be left, you know, and these guys, you know, have to factor in how fast is the track going to dry. That's going to change strategies. Like you said, we are 40 minutes left into this race. Is there going to be enough time for them to stick it out and just stay on the wet tires? That is going to depend on how fast that track dries out. And I want to circle back to Isaac Bevan. He is lights out. The guy is on the rails right now. And then if you look, we only have 4 cars on the current lap. Everybody else is a lap behind or more.
Yeah, unbelievable. 4 cars, that's it. Usually we bring in these guys in the second hour and try to talk to them and do interviews with them. I just don't know if I want to do that. It looks to me, honestly, that if you look at 2 sides of the road course, right, this is a big 4-kilometer racetrack, but 2.66 miles. On one side of the spectrum, if you will, Anthony, the sun's out, it's clear. On another part of the course where they're just exiting at, maybe, it is raining or it is drizzling, and they're still putting the wipers on.
It's
Hence,
so funny
look at
you
this.
said that. I just now picked up on that, and you're absolutely right. They very well may be staying on wet tires for the rest of this race, only because of that point you just brought up. I fail to remember that this track is a very big track, and then the positioning where it's at and where the sun is coming up, we're going to have some dry spots, and then you can have this, where you have a complete tunnel of mist and rain being brushed up to the hood of your car.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. It reminds me of like Daytona, right, or Talladega, where the sun can be out on the front straightaway, but it's raining on the back stretch.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'm being honest. I've seen that happen before. Yeah, honestly.
That is Florida for you. It can rain in the front yard, and the backyard, it's all rainbows and sunshine.
I was working Daytona 2014 500, and that was the one, obviously, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had won his final Daytona 500. And Dale Jr. was in the lead, and the race got halted because of the weather. And I remember literally being up in the press box in the broadcast booth, and I remember seeing a tornado hover above the airport down the back straightaway. And I literally remember telling somebody in 2014, I'm like, oh my God, there's a tornado, but what do we do? And they're like, oh, we just got to get down under the announcer booth, under the table in the media center, and what it is, and we get hit. And I'm just like, there ain't really a lot going into factor about life-saving here. You got this big ass glass in front of us, right? Because the press box has got glass, right, overlooking the crowd. We're on the loudspeakers telling everybody to take cover. There's a tornado. This was right in the middle of the Daytona 500, by the way, like the first 50 miles of the Great American Race. And we're telling people to run for cover, find shelter, batten down the hatches, take down your tents, cover up your Winnebagos, your campers, whatever, find shelter. And there's a tornado in February. Like you said, crazy weather down in Florida, Anthony. There's a tornado on the back straightaway, and then it storms, and then it clears up, and then we race, and then it rains, and then we end up running the race all night, like literally into there were 2 weather delays, one for the tornado, the other one for thunderstorms, and we finally got the race in. If you remember, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won. And it was his first ride with Hendrick Motorsports, if you remember, if you all remember the whole
that race.
Story. Yeah,
I do remember that race.
Yeah, so that was the first ride with Hendrick Motorsports, besides the Clash and the duels, and he turns around and he wins the race at Daytona. That race ended at close to midnight, after midnight. I'll never forget that. So the weather story. We're talking about weather stories. We're talking about driving in the rain, and we're talking about here at Red Bull Ring, because there really ain't nothing to talk about. There's 3 cars now on the lead lap, 4 cars on the lead lap. That is it. And it is Isaac Bevan in the lead, even though he's had his stroke of bad luck and spinning and going around and just having issues, if you will, Anthony Shababy. It has still been Kermit the Frog, Luke Smith in second, but to the mishaps of Bevan, Smith could not catch him.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on Brandon Rapp here. Like you said, Kermit is. I don't foresee him catching Isaac Smith, but Brandon Rapp here is just a handful of seconds behind Luke the Smith Kermit, or Luke Kermit the Smith. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't say Kermit. I'm sorry, Wesley. I'm gonna have to say Luke Smith, but
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog,
my friend.
Brandon Rapp is absolutely staying within about 4 to 5 seconds pace behind Kermit, looking to make another position here for some points. Isaac Bevan, and I don't know if it's how he's driving the car. You can see him get a little sideways there, but he's definitely got it locked into a manner that you can kind of tell he may have anticipated this kind of weather.
Here's a replay of something that's happened again.
Standing pool of water.
We race on.
Wesley, you'll have to excuse me for just a brief moment. I'll be back in here in just a couple seconds.
Well, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up in just a moment as we are closing in on our final half hour. Quick break again for those that are watching. We are back with more from Red Bull Ring, ready to wrap it up here in just a moment with the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series. Stay with us. Craftsmanship that lasts a lifetime is Florida Cabinet Distributors. With over 20 years in business and 39 years of woodmaking experience, they proudly serve Northeast Florida to Southeast Georgia, delivering custom woodwork that combines precision, beauty, and durability. Whether you're dreaming of a custom kitchen, bathroom vanity, fireplace and mantle, entertainment center, outdoor kitchen, or even a full library, we can build it at Florida Cabinet Distributors, exactly the way that you envision. Hey, no project is too big or too small. If it's made of wood, Florida Cabinet Distributors can make it. Call or text Steve today. Yes, they gave us his personal cell number, 904-874-3442. That's 904-874-3442 to book today. Florida Cabinet Distributors, craftsmanship that lasts a lifetime.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations, home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's magical creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Starbase, 1552 Comics. Suit up and head over to Whatnot Live to fight your way to save your collection. Our command center has comic books, action figures, posters, autographs, Funko Pops, and many other collectibles. If you can't make it live, fly on over to our eBay and Amazon stores. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook because being informed is part of the battle. Starbase 1552 Comics is a proud supporter of the iRacing's North American Sim Racing Association League. Starbase 1552 Comics. Reclaim your childhood.
Welcome back to coverage on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, as well as Pirate Broadcasting. Art Millen doing a phenomenal job. Art Milne, thank you, sir. We also had Nakaya Chitwood earlier, Rubber Ducky, and we've got Anthony Shababy now. I'm Wesley Outland. And we are the broadcast crew to make it happen here tonight for the 213simware.com 2 hours of Red Bull Ring. And we are closing in on the final half hour of this race now, Anthony.
Yep, as you can see, Isaac Bevan still with a commanding lead, pushing nearly a 30-second gap, sitting at about 28.5 seconds over Kermit the Frog. I'll say it for you, Wesley. Followed by Brandon Rapp, sitting in third place.
I love it. I love it. Kermit the Frog.
Is that your Kermit impression?
Kermit the Frog here.
Yes, sir. You're rocking it, brother.
And I know when we were on our commercial break there, I think we caught wind that Tyler Justice may have went around.
We did. We actually saw where Tyler Justice had problems on the track. Obviously was able to continue along. Here's a replay of what happened to him. Asking you shall receive. This is what you saw during the break. Devin Painter in the pits now. But that's Tyler Justice, the man that is third in the point standings, and now he has fell back to fourth on the track. Still another solid points day. 4 cars on the lead lap right now. That's it.
Absolutely
That's it.
Amazing. You know, I can't be biased here. You know, a lot of that has to do with the weather conditions, as we've talked about multiple times. I don't know that if we would have seen that with clear skies.
So you think the weather conditions as it was really wreaked havoc from the start, what you're thinking basically?
I do, yeah, because I mean, if I look at the track and I see the guys here that are driving, if we had clear skies, do I see Adam Newton sitting in 7th, a lap behind? No, I don't. Do I see Tyler Justice sitting in 4th? No, I don't. I feel like if we had clear skies, we would see a lot more cars on the current lead lap rather than just the first 4 positions. And it does look like Tyler Justice is around again. Yeah, I really do feel like the weather played into this one, Wesley.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you, dude. Like, this has been rather interesting, and trying to carry this one to the finish, and we still even see, even now with the sun out, that there are dry. Okay, there's a couple of dry spots now. It's starting to dry in some positions, but in other places there are still, from the heavy rainfall here at Red Bull Ring, there's still a lot of wet spots and hydroplaning going on. So, standing water.
Yeah, it just seems to kind of be lingering. You know, you can kind of see those clouds over the hillside, and you know, the sun is trying to creep up. But as you stated beforehand, you know, the track is so big that you have some dry spots, some sunny spots, as we see there in that shot there from our producer. The other parts of the track are just entirely wet, so you hate to see it, but it is part of racing, you know. And unless we have lightning, unless we have tornadoes, so green is go, you know.
Something that Nakaya talked about before you arrived, Anthony, was rooster tails, as he was saying. That's what it looked like as they were working on and rooster tails is something like vapor trails, like you see in jets when they're up in the air. The air makes like a string cloud. Anybody that's ever went to a World of Outlaws sprint cars or a IMSA super modified show with the ISMA super modifieds are used to seeing like a rooster tail, which basically like a vapor. It's like you see the wind, and we're seeing the same thing with these guys as they're working through the water. You see a rooster tail of the water standing, and it makes it look like they've blown their engines, but they haven't blown their engines. It's just the water flying through the air, following their treads.
You know, and it is quite interesting too, Wesley, because that water trail, that rooster tail, as you would say, really does give you a visual representation as to how the aero works on these cars.
Oh yeah.
How these cars are supposed to plan. You know, generally we see that in the wind tunnel, but you add moisture to the mix, you're going to be able to see that It is sometimes cool to see, but for the drivers, I don't feel like they're feeling that cool about it. I'm sure a few of them will have a handful to say about the weather conditions today. Mind you, we never did go to them because, as you said earlier, we do like to talk to the drivers from time to time, and I think today we kind of just let them run through the weather.
Yeah, today is just one of those nights where we're not going to really try to grab anybody and try to talk to them, man. I don't think it's a good idea. And in the weather and the rain, I just don't think. I think guys are probably stressed out of their mind right now as we see another car of Devin Painter, the 99, going off course again. There you see him already at multiple laps down, and just not his night for Devin Painter.
Yeah, really having a rough night tonight. Found himself off the track quite a few times tonight, as a lot of guys did. As you see there, Isaac Bevan putting on his best Chris Forsberg impression coming around that corner there.
A Buzzy Mongold chiming in. I was working for Racing Electronics in my first ever racing, and our trailer was on the... So are you referring to the 2014 Daytona 500, Buzzy, when the tornado hit? I think that's what Buzzy's talking about. So he was there. I didn't know Buzzy at the time. But I guess he's referring to that day whenever the tornado hit on the backstretch. It was very scary. Because literally, like, I remember, like, Fox, the TV people, they didn't even recognize it until after it happened. They were just like, Chris Meyer, and we're under a weather delay. There's a weather delay here for rain. No, dude, there's a freaking tornado on the back straightaway. Don't lie to the TV audience and tell them that it's something serious, right? And we were like telling people, and this is back in the day before. So we had the video boards, right? But we didn't have the graphics or the way to use the stuff like they use today. So it was like just a logo on the screen that said, warning, tornado, take cover or something, not like a fancy script that says that, hey, the speedway's under a weather advisory, please take shelter, blah, 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 like they have that today. It was just a fancy logo that said tornado warning, seek shelter, and
those things happen so quickly too. They
oh
really
yeah.
do.
Dude, hey, Kansas, a tornado came out of nowhere in Kansas when I was at an ARCA race one time. Scared the bejesus out of me, dude. I walked outside the media center. It was an ARCA race, and it was sunny, and it was beautiful. But I remember going inside the media center because I was working on my announcer notes, and it was saying, be aware there's severe weather there. Well, anybody's ever been to Kansas Speedway knows that it's like out in the middle of BFE, right? Like it's out in the middle of God's country on the road, outside of Topeka and in that area. So
Familiar with it.
all of a sudden, man, I turn around and I come back outside the media center and I look and it's like dark, and I'm talking about like dark as night. And this is like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. And I'm like, holy cow, we're in trouble. And all of a sudden you're hearing tornado sirens. You're hearing the sirens of the town go off in the distance, and you're like, this thing is coming, and all you can do, dude, is just, it's like what the guy said in the movie Twister. In a severe lightning storm, the best thing to do is just stick your butt in the air and pray. That's the only I mean, that's the only thing that you can do. Because it's that's like, right. Where are you going to go, right? I mean, you're in a press box. You're outside. And what really got me is we still got that ARCA race completed. We still ran the ARCA race. I'm like, they should cancel this. They ain't no damn body going to come. All of a sudden, about an hour later, it cleared up. People were like, yeah, man, did you see that tornado?
Wes, I got to ask you, who wins in a race? A tornado or hurricane? Who wins that race?
Who wins in a race, a tornado or Carson Hocevar?
That's right. They call him the hurricane for a reason, don't they?
I don't know. I don't think you can really ever mess with Mother Nature. They give him a title as a nickname, but I don't know if you mess with Mother Nature. I really don't. I can tell you that much. I'm just, Here's the deal. This is
I
the
would
way
tell
my
that to
daddy
the rest
raised
of the
me.
drivers.
My daddy raised me this way. He's like, son, you know, respect Mother Nature because it can be one thing one minute and turn on you the next. And my dad's got a valid point. The thing about a hurricane, that's a big storm. You can see it coming unless it changes its track. And I've seen hurricanes do that, right? But the thing is about a hurricane is anybody that's got common sense of the world know that when you've got 2 or 3 days to put an action plan together, pack your stuff, board your windows, hide your wives and kids, get your little canned goods, your little beanie weenies, your spam sandwiches, your drinks, right? I mean, come on, and prepare. A tornado? Man, that thing just drop out of nowhere. You can be in your bed in the middle of the night, all of a sudden you ain't got a roof. I'm just being honest, right? I mean, I'm just telling the truth.
I tell you what, Wesley, our fathers are entirely different. Mine just taught me how not to cut myself while working on the inside of a Maytag washer.
There you go. Yeah.
As we see there, we got another
Oh,
car off the
boy.
track here. The number 115, the BMW M4 Comp. That is Joey Helton. Also having a rough night, sitting in 9th position. Looks like he's also a lap down at the same time, followed by JD Larson, 2 laps down. And that Larson's eSport number 98 Acura.
Race is coming to an end, by the way, as we are down to the final under 20 minutes left, 18 minutes remaining.
Did they give you an umbrella when you got here today, or were you not informed like I was?
Nobody told me nothing, man. I showed up. Me and our guy here, we just said, hey, look, it's raining.
I think I left the windows down in the parking lot. That's going to be a rough ride home.
Poor Art was like, hey, man, I don't know anything about this, but I'll help you. And all of a sudden, 2 announcers popped up out of nowhere. He's like, deuces, I'm out here at Wesley. I'm already having camera problems, but you are on your own, brother, because like the first, 30 minutes of the race, it's me calling it by myself. And I ain't going to lie to you. I mean, as a 30-year broadcaster, I was struggling. I was like trying to find stuff to talk about.
Oh, man, Wesley, I don't know. If anybody can do it, it's definitely you, brother. It's definitely
I
you.
was trying, man. I was trying. I'll tell you that much. My announcer colleague of Australia for NASRA Australia and Highline, Nigel Siddell, Will Siddell on the chat. He was like, oh my goodness, dude, are you okay? You're like in a dim world right now. And I'm like, it kind of sucks when you're the only guy calling the race. You know, he's like, come on, you know. I mean, if it was in a circle, maybe I could do play-by-play and try to keep the vibes going. But like when it's a road course and you can set the tone, and then it's just like, oh, there's a car and it's going around and it's raining. Oh, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over again. All right, we need to go get a cup of coffee. Let's take a break. You know.
It's so
And
funny.
then, but when you got people with each other, you can bounce off of them, though. So I'm glad that Nakaya, Rubber Ducky, and Anthony Shababy showed up. So, yeah.
You're not going to let that one go, Kimosabe.
Kimosabe. Chicken to China. Yep.
I tell you, I talked to Cody last week, and he told me to prepare for, tonight, and that we'd be calling a race, and I didn't hear anything until about 7 o'clock, so about 9:15 rolls around, and I check my messages, and Cody and Tim Hammond are both reaching out to me, like, oh, crap, I'd assumed they got somebody, and I saw you guys in here, I'm like, all right, let's get to work, A little late, but better than never.
That's right. Taking this thing to the finish.
I do want
Isaac
to point
Bevan
out,
in the lead and the top spot right now with the number 7.
I don't know if you've noticed that Isaac Bevan's lead is now decreased from 29.5 seconds all the way down to 15.9. Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
Sitting in second place, that is Luke Smith and that number 27 McLaren, followed by Brendan Rapp and the number 142 Ferrari.
Who, by the way, is 43 seconds back in third. 46 seconds back is Tyler Justice on the lead left. And here comes the rain again. Here comes the rain. Here comes the rain again.
Somebody book a ticket to
Running
Credence.
on my memory.
Oh, you went in an entirely different direction than I anticipated with that one.
Yeah, there's a song called Here Comes the Rain
Oh,
Again.
I'm familiar with it. I think you performed it better, though. Isaac Bevan's still steadily sitting 59 laps in, the clear gap of 16.5 seconds over Luke Smith. A little bit off the track. Now, I've seen him do that a few times. I wonder if he's intentionally running off to the side of that rumble strip just to avoid what might be standing water just underneath that rumble strip. As it does look like Isaac Bevan is coming up on what appears to be lap traffic. I do believe that is Shane Scott.
Yeah, it's like a techno song. Remember that techno song by the Eurothermics? Here Comes the Rain Again?
Oh,
Here comes the rain again.
Yes.
Falling on my memory. Yeah, I done butchered it, but yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah.
I feel like you sang it better. You know, I'd probably buy that album if you released it today.
Oh God, no! Please don't you ever say that. I will never audition for American Idol or America's Got Talent, at least in that caliber.
Not even for your 15 minutes, Wesley?
Oh hell no, no.
We have enough time.
No,
here,
I'm an announcer. I get paid to talk for a living, not sing. You only catch me singing in the shower.
That's the only time I feel like I can sing. But you remove the acoustics, nope, it's scorched earth.
It's like whenever you Liquid Courage karaoke,
100%. You think you sound like Johnny Cash,
want
but you
me, baby? Yeah, exactly. The ring of fire.
Looks like Adam Newton is around there in that number 19 Acura. The weather conditions absolutely treacherous for these guys tonight. Isaac Bevan seemingly be the only guy to really kind of keep it maintained and keep it under his helm.
In the rain, racing in the rain, finishing in the rain, and here's the rain again. I mean, the sun was just out. It's raining again.
We saw it 3 times.
Everything that they were working on is gone. There's a look at the pit stops, by the way. How about this? Only 2 stops for the leaders. That's it. Tyler Justice has only pitted 1 time.
Well, you have to keep in consideration there, Wesley. You're really not getting on the throttle as much in this kind of weather. The tires are going to be somewhat preserved because you're also not getting on the throttle in this kind of weather. So there's a level of management with these guys that's allowed them to pace themselves with getting new tires and restocking up on fuel. And I've always wondered what really goes into this, especially in IMSA, for the big boys, the real stuff. What goes
weather,
into it? Yeah, for them to prepare for stuff like this on the fly, on a whim, and just make those adjustments. And I do believe a lot of these GT cars, you can have some electronic adjustments remotely.
Oh yeah,
without having to bring the car in.
Oh yeah, I know you're from Vero Beach, Florida, man. So if you ever put it on your bucket list, go to the 24 Hours in Daytona, the Rolex 24. That is an experience as well. I mean, not just that the Daytona 500. By the way, the leader Isaac Bevan getting a yellow, going off track again. Isaac Bevan.
I have been to Daytona 500. I've been to a shootout, been to Charlotte a handful of times. But I got to tell you, that is absolutely a bucket list item for me, and very much so going to Sebring as well.
Dude, take in the 24 Hours of Daytona, the IMSA WeatherTech series, right? The GT3, the LMP2, the LMP3 cars. I mean, it is the prototype cars. Take in, and I say this to anybody, right? Take in the whole experience. Go and watch the race in the grandstands. Go in the pits, mingle in the pits and look at the cars. Be a part of the festivities. Be outside when they shoot the fireworks off at 10 o'clock at night at Daytona with the Ferris wheel. I mean, it's just one of my favorite things is the transition from night into day. That 6 o'clock in the morning till about 7:30 morning feel on a Sunday when you're transitioning from the night, overnight to the sun, and you see the sun from the coastline, from the beach, 6 miles, 7 miles away from the ocean. You're literally, I mean, the ocean's right there from the racetrack.
Yep.
And it is so awesome, especially when you're all the way up in the press box. You're way up in the press box, and if you're on the top of the spotter stand, you can literally see the ocean, and you can see the sun coming up from the ocean view. I mean, it's so cool. And just an awesome, take it all in. Take it in, enjoy the experience, man. You'll be glad you did. I tell anybody, go to the Rolex 24.
Tell you what, Wesley, I think you're going to entice me to start spending some money. I don't appreciate it, but I think I might thank you for it early next year. One thing I do like about Daytona, too, is you can actually camp in the infield. Of me being a true fan,
Oh, yeah.
I got no problem putting the tent up, falling asleep, waking up at 6 a.m. to see the cars go by.
Man, they ain't nothing like waking up and whom, 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 whom. You ever heard of the expression, I can sleep outside my window? Hell yeah, you can do that, man. Come on. We used to do things in stints, basically, when we do the 24. Like, literally, it's like the crew works like 4, 4, 4, and 4 and 4. So you work 4 hours, and then you work 4 hours, and you work 4 hours. So there's a team of 3, but they work 4 2-hour shifts, if you will, right? And, man, you got another 8 hours to do around. You can go around and mingle, eat food. Dude, you ain't even got to spend no money. Just hang around with people in the camping area, in the pit area. You'll get fed. Literally. There'll be nobody never going hungry. You want a beer? You want a beer? Yeah, go ahead. I promise you. But there's nothing like at any racetrack whatsoever laying in bed and waking up to the sound of race cars. Like, that's like the ultimate orgasm, right, of racing, to have that.
But the smell too, the tires,
yeah.
The fuel,
Yeah, I mean, that's just like the biggest fetish whatsoever, to like just be laying down and just like, yeah, man, I love this. This is great.
I gotta tell you,
anybody takes that word offended, I'm sorry, but I mean, it's the only word I can think to describe it, because like you absolutely enjoy it. It's, anybody that has racing in their veins, you know what I mean when you're waking up to that sound, I mean.
Yeah, I completely understand exactly what you're saying, and I've been to a handful of racing events. I've been to a couple of IndyCar races, NASCAR races. I just had the pleasure of going to a Formula Drift event with a couple of good friends of mine. And getting peppered in rubber, and it's hot, and then it's rainy, and it's hot again, and you feel gross, but you know what? The cars, the sound, the smell,
take it all in.
Take it all in. It tickles every fancy you ever want in an automotive thing.
Yeah, take it all in. We are heading to the home stretch of this when we're back in a moment.
You're listening to the CRN Community Radio Network. We now pause for station identification.
You're not going to want to miss tonight's county fair. I'm going to be...
We are your window to your community.
Did you see the last 5 minutes of that football game last night?
Oh, man, I saw the whole thing. And a lifeline to keep you safe when danger is near.
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can. This is one of the biggest storms.
We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is the Community Radio Network, WCRN, 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud to be in the USA. We are CRN.
About to come down to it. If you're tuned in on the radio at CRN, welcome to our coverage. Anthony Shababy, I'm Wesley Outland. Art Milne from Pirate Broadcasting on production, and we are down to the final countdown, if you will. Less than 6 minutes remaining. Isaac Bevan looking to be the first winner of the Tuesday bi-weekly series of the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, because Matthew David Wood, 14 wins this year. He's won all of them except for round 15. Isaac Bevan, surviving through the good and bad, is about to try to lock that up and get a win here, Anthony.
Yeah, it is actually really remarkable that the Weatherman has won every race this season, given that Isaac Bevan does finish here first within the next 5.5 minutes. I want to point out Brandon Rapp actually took the second place position from your boy, the Kermit Frog.
He did just a moment ago. It is now Brandon Rapp now putting himself in the number 2 position. By the way, coming up will be the Florida Cabinet Distributors post-race wrap-up, and we will talk to the drivers currently of Bevan, Rapp, and Smith, unless something changes here. Under 5 minutes remaining, and it is all Isaac Bevan that is leading the way in this thing here.
Keep in mind, Wesley, that Luke Smith is in fact only just a handful of seconds behind. Looks like he's about 3 seconds behind Brandon Rapp. We're coming down on 4.5 minutes left. It looks like a good part of the track is starting to dry up. We see some of these drivers really starting to push the car, especially from, between second and third place. I would not be surprised if Kermit the Frog here makes a move on Brandon Rapp as he's starting to close that gap in on him, or if not maintain it.
Crack is Luke Smith.
And there
that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it.
That one.
This might open the door for Tyler Justice to run him down. Oh my goodness, look at all that standing water fighting through and now notice the sun is gone, or excuse me, the rain is starting to let up again and the sun's coming back out. Mother Nature's mind has been cray-cray here at the virtual Red Bull Ring here tonight.
She's not sure what she wanted to do today. Back on board here with Isaac Bevan, our number 1 position, the number 7 BMW M4 Comp. Really putting on a commanding lead tonight, sitting steadily ahead at 38.9 seconds, almost 39 seconds ahead of Brandon Rapp. When we call these races, Wesley, and we've done NASCAR races and we've done endurance races, we really understand that what we're in for when it comes to an endurance race, and when you factor in whether it really does change the script and the narrative. And I gotta say, I've had a fun time tonight, and I've had a real pleasure just getting to kind of sit here and talk to you and tell stories and hear yours as well.
Well, I mean, and sometimes the races become a little bit of you can tell stories because there's really nothing really going on, and we with 4 cars in the lead lap and continue to talk about driving in the rain. We can talk about things that are relatable, and obviously hearing the stories for sure makes it fun. Obviously, I know we've worked together on the speedway level with NASRA on the I think it was a DSR Truck Series one night. You filled in for us, and obviously it's a different broadcast world, right? When you're doing this endurance racing compared to like round course. By the way, don't forget, tomorrow night we will have coverage of the NASRA the NASRA Pulse Poppers ARCA Series. That will be at Lime Rock Park. That is a lot smaller road course. It's a fun road course, 1.5 miles. Tomorrow night we'll be doing that race for you. And then on Thursday night, it is the Cops NASRA Truck Series, where it all started back in 2020. That is where we will be, and we'll have coverage of that race. And they will be, of course, at Texas Motor Speedway for, of course, the upcoming races, and that will be the 213 Simware 225. So there you go. There's your upcoming races, 2 down and 2 to go for the week. Races every Monday through Thursday on the NASRA 360 Racing Network.
Been to Texas Motor Speedway?
I have. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been to Texas. Another place that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. They say it's in Fort Worth, but it's actually between Dallas, Fort Worth, and anybody knows Dallas, Fort Worth. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's hot as hell right now in the summertime, all right? You ever seen that show Landman? That's perfect description of how hot it is over there.
I used to live out in Plano and Carrollton, and then I had to do some work out in the DFW area, and you are absolutely right. It is in BFE for the most part.
Yeah, Red Bull.
I tell you what, leaving that track, though, after an Indy race, you see that big old Buc-ee's station across the street, and I think they had a Jack in the Box next door, and that place is packed.
Buc-ee's! Well, Buc-ee's, final 30 seconds. Closing in on the finish here. Remember, when the clock expires, wherever the leader is, he will get the Darren's Detail and Shine one to go. Right now, Isaac Bevan, the leader, is working his way across the start-finish line. So he will make a whole other lap And this will be the white flag lap now when the clock expires. So wherever Isaac Bevan is, this will be the one to go here to take us to the finish, Anthony.
Isaac Bevan, it looks like he's starting to have a little fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
He knows, he's sitting comfortably 40 seconds ahead of second place and Brandon Rapp in the number 142 Ferrari. But we just watched him go through those past couple of corners, and you can kind of tell he's getting on a little bit. He's having fun. He's like, as I said before, he's putting on his best Chris Forsberg impression out there.
Here comes Isaac Bevan. He will come down to the line, and ladies and gentlemen, he will be the first winner besides Matthew David Wood tonight winning at Red Bull Ring. Okay, the only reason he won because MDW's not here, but don't take it away from Isaac Bevan. He's been consistent several times, been a bridesmaid several times to, of course, MDW. Isaac Bevan finally gets a win here, and we have our first, we finally have a different winner for the first time in 14 races. There you go.
Absolutely incredible. 14 races, and then you get a new winner. Hats off to Isaac Bevan. Hats off to Brandon Rapp finishing in second, and Kermit the Frog, our boy Luke Smith in third, followed by Tyler Justice fourth, and rounding the top five is going to be
And the rain, and the rain continues to fall. Yes, sir. Look at this.
And I do want to point out, Wesley, earlier we were at 4 positions only on the current lap. We're now up to 5. In the race,
it's a miracle.
Back on the lead lap.
Shane Scott back on the lead lap. It's a good thing for him. One of the drivers that are in the top 3 in the point standings, if you will. After 14 races, MDW won them all. He did not show up tonight here at Red Bull Ring, and in doing so, it has opened the door now for Isaac Bevan, who, by the way, was 5th in the point standings. He'll now get his first win of the season, joining Matthew David Wood with 14. I got a feeling, too, this might catapult him up to either second or third in the championship standings also, with still 4 races left to go in the season, Anthony.
Would you, so I'm sorry, I have to re-ask you this. So does he have the chance to actually go past Tyler Justice in the point standings? Because
I think so.
Okay.
Well, Justice finished 4th, but you get a lot more points for winning, so it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. By the way, guys, so here's the deal here tonight at Red Bull Ring. Even though they didn't win, Isaac Bevan did win. Isaac Bevan's 5th in the points. However, as you mentioned, Tyler Justice 2nd in the points behind MDW, Shane Scott 3rd, Luke Smith. All these guys still finished in the top 5 with MDW not being here. So I'm kind of like you now. I'm kind of having reservations on my commentary about possibly the points being that big of a shuffle, because they were finishing in the top 5. The only guy that really made anything happen was Brandon Rapp, and he finished his 2nd. But Bevan won. He was 5th in the points. Justice was 2nd in the points. He obviously finishes 4th. Luke Smith is 4th in the points. He finishes 3rd. Shane Scott, 3rd in the points. He finishes 5th. So it's going to be interesting to see how the shakeup happens.
There's a lot of tic-tac-toe going on there, Wesley.
Yes. Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. Mama got shot by G.I. Joe. Let's take a look at the results here tonight for the 2 hours at the Red Bull Ring, presented by 213 Simware. There it is. Isaac Bevan will pick up the victory over Brandon Rapp. Luke Smith, Kermit will finish 3rd. We'll talk to them in a moment on the, of course, Florida Cabinet Distributors post-race victory circle. Tyler Justice, Shane Scott, your top 5. Collie Miller, Adam Newton, the first 7 when the race ends. They're all on the lead lap. You got the rest of the rundown there, Anthony.
Joey Helton finishing there 2 laps behind in P8, followed by Devin Painter. JD Larson rounding out your top 10, starting P11. Cole Larson running in your 11th position. And Tyler Brokaw finishing 12th. Ryan Van Epps closing out your 13th spot. And for your final spot is going to be Trace Miller. Trace Miller, rough day for him today. He's closing out your 14th spot.
7 cars in the lead lap. Look like some guys got some laps back where the checker flag fell. By the way, we are going to Circuit of the Americas in 2 weeks. That'll be on August the 18th. Long Beach Road Course at California and Daytona International Speedway. We were talking about the Daytona, the Rolex 24. We're going to that road course coming up on September the 15th. So they're down to 3 races remaining. And, of course, when it is all said and done, we have a new first-time winner. By the way, 68 laps. That was the total laps amount that Isaac Bevan ran at 181 miles. And they need to throw partly cloudy out the damn window because it was rain, extremely wet. And it exactly was that. Isaac Bevan led 63 of the 68 laps. Hard charger Adam Newton. Brandon Rapp was the fast man. What a job, Tyler Brokaw from the pole. As we will bring in our guys real quickly and have our post-race interviews. Who are we missing? We're missing Isaac. We got Isaac Bevan. We need Brandon Rapp. That's who we're looking for. Brandon Rapp. If Brandon is anywhere on the stream, can we bring him in? I don't see him yet. Oh, Brandon Rapp, where are you? If he is, pop into the waiting room. We'll bring him in. But for right now, let's go to Victory Lane. Finally, there is a new first-time winner besides MDW. It is Isaac Bevan. Isaac, way to go, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir. A win's always good, but it does feel almost not quite as sweet as if MDW were here. But nonetheless, great race, great battles there. Managed to go the whole time with only like 2 pucker moments, so that was nice. But yeah, so luckily we were able to keep it on track. That's not even true. I had a couple off tracks here and there. But yeah, the actually it's not KFTC, but the KFTC BMW as well as the Wheelman BMW was hooked up today. Honestly, I feel like if MDW was here, I might have had something for him, so I'm a little bit sad. But it was a great race all around. Everyone was good and respectful. Shout out to RVM Esports. I'm kind of sort of running with them this season. I am with them in the trucks. We'll be with them next season. But very nice of them taking me on. But no, great race.
Anthony, got a question for the winner? Isaac, buddy, go ahead.
I do have a question for you, Isaac. What I want to ask you is, were you having fun the last 2 laps there? But I think we all know the answer to that question. My main question is that did you anticipate the level of conditions today, and did you set your car up in a manner that it would help you succeed in these conditions?
Honestly, I knew it was going to rain because I looked at, they have a little forecast built into iRacing. I didn't know just how bad it would be. In terms of the setup, the thing with this series is that it's a fixed setup. So as iRacing kind of boosts and like adjusts how cars perform to try to get them as close to realistic as possible, since we're all on a fixed setup, it pretty much leaves it up to the driver. So the fact that MDW is just doing what he's doing when we're all on a level playing field is quite insane. But no, the car itself, threw wet tires on it, sent it, ran the race line, the wet line, I should say, because that rubber that builds up in the dry, really grippy, but as soon as it gets wet, it's slick. So you got to kind of adjust a few things. Other than that, it's just bouch to the wow and turn it with the pedal, turn it with the gas. It depends. It's fun. It's a nice balance. It's kind of like drifting here and there.
I did see
well, there you go. So Isaac, I got to ask you this question, man. Was MDW not planning to be here tonight? I mean, obviously, obviously a win is a win, right? I don't want to take that away from you, but
right.
You know, you kind of threw the idea of, man, I might have had a chance to beat this guy if we were racing in the rain and, you know, had an advantage. I mean, what would it mean to get this guy out here on the racetrack and then be able to beat him that way, for sure?
That would multiply this by 10 easily. He truly is. I'm not trying to like glaze the guy, but he really is a phenomenal driver. And he planned not to be here. I think he was race control or something because Josh was gone.
Yeah.
So they kind of switched around. I figure his points gap lead is comfy enough he could do that. But But no, I love the rain, so I hope it rains again while he's there.
Oh,
And,
so MDW was here, but he was race directing, is what you're saying?
best I know. I didn't hear
Wow.
him, but I
Okay.
think that was the
Okay.
plan.
Got you. Well, Isaac, buddy, before we let you go, man, please thank your sponsors. Enjoy this one.
Yes, sir. Thanks to you guys first and foremost. You, Joshua, Suss, all you guys coming together. You know, this league used to be quite small, and it's really started to kind of take off. It's wonderful to see. We had, like, I think
Yes.
last race, it was whole big old car count. Next season's looking good in terms of entries. So
Yes,
thanks to
sir.
you
Yes.
guys. Thanks to Kentucky Flight Training Center and the Wheelman. And then as of next season, I will say thank you in advance to RVM Esports, Ryan Van Epps, and company.
Man, I got to say this jokingly. When you said Kentucky Flight Training Center, I thought you were going to say Kentucky Fried Chicken. I really did.
I got hungry.
It's down the road.
I mean, I see you rocking McDonald's on the Fat Shit Cat, Isaac Bevan, and then obviously, you know, I thought you said could take KFC. So there you go. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
It's Isaac Bevan, everybody. Oh, the Wheelman getting his first ever win in the series. It happens tonight here at Red Bull Ring. Let's go grab Brandon Rapp. He will finish in second. He is nowhere to be found. So let's just give him a round of applause and make a little noise here. Round of applause. He didn't show up, son of a... But, hey, man, good job to Brandon Rapp. He finishes in the number 2 position. And let's bring it up to our buddy that finishes third, Kermit the Frog. Yeah, Kermit. Please let Anthony know your best impression of in Kermit the Frog. So talk like Kermit, buddy. Finishing third tonight. Luke Smith, are you there?
He's gone.
Luke, I am your father. Kermit the Frog, did he go potty? Did Luke go to the restroom? Is that what he did?
It's possible. We were yapping too much.
Kermit the Frog, do you got a copy? Luke, Kermit. Mic issues. Well, that'll do it.
All the time.
Luke. Okay. Well, anyhow, Luke Smith, Kermit, as I call him, will finish in the in the number 3 position when the race ends. So big shout out to Brandon Rapp as well as Luke Smith, Kermit the Frog. They will finish obviously in the top 3 podium as well. Give them some love, make some noise, and that sucks. We couldn't get an interview with him either. But nonetheless, we did speak to Isaac Bevan, and that'll wrap up tonight. So I want to say thank you to Art Milne, Pirate Broadcasting, for jumping in, joining us on the production side of things. Really enjoyed working with him the last couple of weeks whenever we've worked together. Anthony Shababy as well. Pleasure, my friend. Your final take of tonight here at Red Bull Ring. And don't forget, the next race will be coming up in 2 weeks, August the 18th, Circuit of the Americas. Talk about tracks in Texas. We are going to that one.
It's always a pleasure. Big shout out to the NASRA 360 Racing Network, Wesley. Always glad to work with you. It's been a great race and it's been fun. I'm looking forward to Coda. I hope the guys up top called me in for it.
It was a fun one, and of course, when it is all said and done at the end of a rainy night at the virtual Red Bull Ring, it is, of course, Isaac Bevan to pick up the victory. If you'd like to get signed up with the NASRA Prosper Engineering Endurance Series, don't hesitate to reach out to somebody in the social media or Discord channel. Thank you to all of the sponsors that are flashing across the screen. I think even though we're black, we're still on the air. Want to say thank you to, as always, Mr. Joshua Suss. Safe travels, my friend, from Kansas to Florida. He's moving down to your neck of the woods. The man behind the Prosper Engineering Endurance Series. I would say thank you to 213 Simware, and obviously thanks to all the drivers like Isaac Bevan winning here tonight. For everybody at NASRA, North American Sim Racing Association.com, NASRA Racing on social media. Big thanks to, obviously, Brady LaBeouf and Cody Knott. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we are going road course racing again with the ARCA cars with the NASRA Pulse Popper ARCA Series at Lime Rock Park. Round number 3 of the NASRA Cops Truck Series, where it all started. Now on Thursday. Thursday nights, we will be at Texas. Wild and wonderful Texas. No Limits, Texas will be a good one. For everybody here tonight, for Art Milne, for Anthony Shababy, also thank you for chiming in, Mr. Nakaya Chitwood, a.k.a. Rubber Ducky. I am Wesley Outland, congratulating Isaac Bevan, the Wheelman, wins tonight here at Red Bull Ring. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more lefts and right turns, road course style, with the series of endurance at COTA. Circuit of the Americas. Thanks for listening and watching.